This is the second in a series of modules about productive tutoring techniques. You, the viewer, will have an opportunity to see actual tutors handling real tutoring situations. These scenes will benefit you the most if you take time to think about and discuss what you see. Throughout this module, this screen will appear as a prompt for reflection and discussion. Positive reinforcement is a technique that comes naturally for most tutors. Most people, spontaneously and without any prior training, provide positive reinforcement to friends, family, even total strangers. Research in education has found positive reinforcement to have a large effect on student learning. Students benefit from the emotional support provided by words of encouragement while verifying that they have made the correct mental connections. As a result, those connections are strengthened. Positive reinforcement also increases the likelihood of students sharing their ideas, a necessity for productive tutoring sessions. Positive reinforcement may consist of a posture that communicates interest and concern for the student, pleasant facial expressions such as smiles and nods, and, of course, positive comments about the effort and performance of the student. A good tutor sits leaning slightly toward the student, a medium distance away. Eye contact, smiles, and nods communicate acceptance and encouragement. Sometimes the nonverbal parts of positive reinforcement speak louder than the actual words spoken. Sending good nonverbal messages make the students feel both more comfortable and more motivated.
Los libros son míos.
Yes, exacto, chiquitita.
I think I should put would one be able to recognize it at the beginning of the sentence so it would be a little bit clearer.
Okay, so how would that read?
Okay. By trying to see if one would be able to recognize it if a face was different in a particular area. I think that sounds much better.
I think you're right.
Right.
And its conjugate base is this.
Right.
So this would mean this is the weaker base.
Right.
It's a weaker base than that.
Right.
Just because it's reversed.
Right.
Positive reinforcement is more effective when congratulatory words and actions are varied and intermittent. The exact nature of the positive reinforcement will depend on the personality of the tutor and the relationship between tutor and student.
Well, doesn't this just equal 1?
Mm-hmm.
Just take here. Is that 8?
Yeah.
So the answer is 9?
Yep.
Fueron endosados por los chicos.
Yep. Sí. Tú sabes. Yeah.
Right.
Chica.
I know it on the exam.
You'll know it.
A is 1, -1.
Right.
And then B is +2.
Mm-hmm.
And C is 1.
Correct. What number is this? Number 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Cool.
Good work.
But when this is breaking, what is it?
When it's breaking, it's endo because it's coming off. I mean, it needs energy.
Right.
Okay.
Some students will need more positive reinforcement than others. In general, the more uncertain a student is, the more positive reinforcement that will be needed. Tutors detect this uncertainty by listening for a hesitant or lowered voice, and by looking for visual cues such as frowning and avoiding eye contact.
All right.
And then you take the log of that to get the PK, right?
Okay.
Is that
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Divided one by the other.
Oh, so I don't have any
Right.
ends. Okay. I'm thinking velocity still.
It's okay. All right.
X equals X plus 4. And
You're right so far. Keep going.
It would be.
Mm-hmm.
3 would. Anything above 5 would not be.
All right. That's it. You just solved the whole problem right there. You're exactly right. That's all
So
they're
that's
asking.
it. That's it. La puerta del hotel fue abrido.
No.
Abierta.
Uh-huh.
Abierta.
Uh-huh.
La puerta del hotel fue abierta por el conserje.
Yay!
Carmunge. Rio is abierta.
Qualified or partial positive reinforcement occurs when a student states an idea that is partly correct, and the tutor acknowledges the correct part of the idea before going on to address the incorrect part. The emphasis should be on the positive part because positive reinforcement has a much larger effect on learning than negative reinforcement.
So usually with a function, you just write it as y equals something instead of x equals something.
But we're doing the inverse.
You're right. So the inverse is still a function. And you're right, that is the inverse. That's exactly right. But they want it in a form of y equals something.
Something bonds what's happening to the energy. Something that is a trend.
Decreases.
I mean, you can't really say it decreases, but you're on the right line.
I don't know. When they bond, they share energy?
No, they share electrons. They don't share energy, but
Okay, here you go. You're right up until here. How did you get from here to here?
Add 4 plus 4.
Okay, that's right. You have the square root of 8, but how did you get 2 times the square root of 8?
I guess it should have been 2 plus or minus.
The last 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And start here, and it'd be like this.
Well, that's what it would be if that were a positive x over there. But it's a negative x.
And is this right? The more electronegative atom will retain both electrons to make it less electronegative, so it'll be a lower energy. Is that the basic thinking?
Well, the first part's right. The more electronegative atom will retain both electrons, but it's not going to make it less electronegative.
You end up with e to the 2x minus 1. You got all your numbers right, but you didn't put them in the right place. Equals 2.
That is part of it, but that 4 doesn't have anything to do with what the x values can be, because that's not under the radical.
That just moves it up or down a little.
Right.
Let's summarize some things to remember. Positive reinforcement has a nonverbal component that is at least as important as the actual words said. Effective positive reinforcement is varied, intermittent, and unique to the personality of the tutor. Positive reinforcement should be increased when the student is uncertain. And partial positive reinforcement should be used to emphasize and reinforce the correct ideas in partially correct answers.